Today I'm planting some trees. Show you the way we have to do it around here. First thing I'm doing is I'm lining them up. What we have is a couple apple trees and a peach tree. Alright, have them spaced out about where I want them. And all I gotta do is start clearing the area, putting them in. I don't know if it's the best place, but it seems to get the most sun. My plan is here to plant a few fruit trees. This year I'm starting off with 3 of them. I have 2 apple trees, a Red Delicious and a Mystery Apple. It was on sale because I didn't know what it was. And a peach tree. This is a poly semi-dwarf peach tree. They're all semi-dwarfs. They'll range about 15 to 25 foot at their maximum. So you're probably wondering why I'm planting them so close to each other. They're probably, I don't know, 8-10 feet apart, tree to tree. Well, I plan on keeping them small. Once they're in the ground, you know, they're probably a 6 foot tree right now, 6.5 foot, roughly. Once they're in the ground, I'm going to trim them, and I'm going to try to keep them trimmed. Roughly, probably around the 6 to 8 foot height and circumference, so I can pick the fruit myself. And this is my first try into the fruit tree world here. Starting with 3 this year, maybe get another 3 or more next year, just to get them started. Something I've been wanting to do for a while. So that's the plan. Keep them trimmed. I figured if they can do espaliered trees, which is basically a fruit tree run along a lattice, so that basically you can make the tree 2-dimensional and into like it's almost like trellis, like you would do grapes, or like a climbing rose bush or something like that on a trellis. But they basically trim off all the branches, you know, from whatever side protrudes, and then just train them to go out to the side of every branch, which is a good way for, you know, keeping your fruit tree small and controlled and in a tight area. So, but with that in mind, I'm going to attempt to just keep these smaller. I know there are places in my area that do cherry trees, and they grow them kind of like in a grape vineyard. So they keep them nice and small, and basically the height of grapes and everything, and train them along that way. So it's possible to keep the trees small. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do, and that's why they are planted so close together. Hopefully I left enough room between the last tree and my shack and the other tree and a big junk maple there, to be able to drive vehicles through if I decide I need to pull in the backyard for something. Alright, what I've done is strip some sod out of the way, pull the grass back so I can see what I'm doing mostly. They do recommend, they give it about a 3 to 6 foot area around where you're planting your fruit tree without sod, just so they, you know, don't have to fight for water and all that. So I may take this whole strip from this area down there to the 3rd one down there and just strip it all the sod from it at a later time, throw in some mulch just to keep weeds down. And I don't know, may hit some end of the season sales on mulch and topsoil yet. So that's where I'm at so far. Okay. Start with the peach tree. Pull it into the middle here. Mark off the side. So I know how big the ball is. Alright, I don't know if you can see in there. Got it all cleaned out. Basically you want the hole to be about twice the size of diameter of the plant that you're planting. You don't want to dig any deeper. You can see, well, you probably can't see, but bottom of my hole I just started hitting a lot of clay. This orange dirt here, a lot of clay, and that doesn't drain too well. But in the bottom you want a firm surface anyway, so your plant doesn't sink any lower than it needs to be. Basically, around here, you want to leave the root structure up about 1 inch to 2 inches above the ground where you're planting it. So actually, I dug a little bit too low. So I'll pack some more dirt back down in there, and I'll stomp on it so it doesn't level too much. Other than that, I have pretty decent looking soil. You know, just you may want to amend your soil with a little bit of peat moss or some good topsoil, some compost, whatever you might have. And I'll probably do that anyway because I do have some a few different things left, half bags of mulch and, you know, mushroom compost and whatever. Peat moss, and I'll toss some of that stuff in. Alright, about ready to start planting. I have my tree in the bucket. A lot of times if it's overrooted, you'll need to cut the bucket. I shouldn't have a problem with this one. This was just potted in this plant this year. Shouldn't have outgrown too much. Probably actually get some of the soil falling out on it. They use, at the nursery I go to, they use a product, I believe it's called Spin Out. And what that does is they spray the pots with it. Then it stops the roots from going. It's I believe it's a fungicide, and it stops the roots from, you know, intertwining around the base of the bucket. Seems like it's in there pretty good, but it's coming. There we go. There you go. And you can see there's not too much intertwining of roots. It'll fall just apart like that. So I don't need to scrape it with a knife or a shovel or anything. I can still, just to encourage the roots to shoot out instead of intertwining, but there's not much there. Some of the other, couple of the other trees I might have to do that with. Okay, so I got some dirt in there. Got some little bit of mushroom compost in here. I'll just kind of mix that in with the soil that I'm going to be backfilling with. That's a little bit in there. Then I have this other stuff. I think it's vermiculite. Might be wrong. It comes from volcanic ashes or whatever. Helps with the drainage and stuff, and I'll just mix some of that around. Just mostly because I have it. That's it. Start backfilling. Try to leave the big rocks out. There are a few. There we go. Just kind of fill it around. Kind of pack it in a little bit as you do that, so it doesn't go anywhere. There. Just like that. Just kind of pack it in. A lot of times use the back end of the shovel just to tamp it down in so you don't have any movement of the tree. It also helps preventing you from having to stake the tree too much, but I'm not in a very windy area, so I should be fine with that. A bit more compost. A handful there. And just mix it in. There we go. Just like that. You can see I packed it in a little bit of soil from when I had it before, where I had it before, so it is up a little bit higher. And all you want to do with that is to taper the dirt up to the root structure. You do not cover the roots with soil, because basically it's like turn into like planting your tree into a plastic bag here. You don't want to do that. You don't want to seal it in. You want the roots to breathe. There, just pack it around, pack it up, pack it in. We begin. Okay, there we go. Just like that. Cover that off. And if you do decide to mulch, give yourself a little space around the tree trunk, about 1 inch to 2 inches around the tree trunk with no mulch. That way it doesn't hold moisture against the tree, thus rotting it out. So that looks pretty good. It's in there fairly firm. Should be good to go. I'll just do a little tamp here all the way around just to reinforce it. There. And just to fill it back in. I got all kinds of dirt left, so that shouldn't be a problem. Just like that. Cool. Happy with that. That's tree number 1. That's the Polly Peach. Most narrow growing, that's why I planted it in the middle. Just in case I forget to trim it one year or something. Or Okay, it's my last hole. It's not as big as the rest. I had some trouble with roots pretty much everywhere. Here's some of the ones I took out. This one here. Yeah, so that's nice and fun. That's where it comes in handy to have a good, strong, sharp shovel. You can really get in there and just hack at them. Kind of same rules as using a hatchet. You know, just whack at it and until you get it apart. It's just hard because you can't always see where it's at, and then you hit rocks on top of that, and it becomes a big pain in the butt. This is the last tree. Let me see if I can get it over here. This one's about coming out of the pot as it is. Okay, it's about been ready to come out. This is a sail tree, so I'm expecting that it has a bit of root entanglement to it. Let's see here. Not too bad. A little bit there. You can see the roots coming around. So those are ones you just want to loosen up a little bit. If you see them wrapping in, just pull them apart. If anything, it should encourage growth. But anyway, you just pull them apart a little bit and toss her in the hole. You see, it's gonna be a little bit tighter than the other ones were. A little bit, not too much. Actually, I went down deeper than I thought. That's not too bad. Well, just fill it in and I'll be done. Okay, last two things to do after planting my 3 trees is going to be pruning and watering. Right now, I'm just going to show you how to prune. I did a few, and I was recording them, but apparently I wasn't recording them, is what happened. So anyway, when you prune, find a little one to show you on here. Okay, you want to find a bud. Where are we at? Find a bud, then you want to prune right after the bud. Right like that. And you want to do it at an angle. That way the water will shed off of it, and you know, the bud will be able to take over for your new growth for next year. Alright, so just go around. I already went around and pruned a number of them when I thought I was recording. But just right after a bud, nip at an angle. Okay, 5-gallon bucket. We're gonna make a watering bucket out of it. Drilling at the very bottom, tiny holes. Do 2 next to each other. There, it's about a 5/64 bit. I'm gonna do 2 more here in case the other 2 clog up. Okay, and all you do, fill it up. Alright, filling the bucket up with water. And probably, you don't probably have to do the whole 5 gallons of water. You probably don't have to do 5 gallons of water per tree. At this point of the year, it's kind of whittling down there with, you know, the hot temperatures. Probably the last hot weekend here. There, you can see kind of see the holes trickling there. That's all you want. Just a little bit of water coming out. Okay, I just filled these buckets up. This bucket up again. There you go. And I got it sitting at the base of the tree. And it's trickling out alright. Pretty good. The more water in it, the more it'll trickle out. And you can see there's 2 holes there. And then the other 2 holes over there, I just cleaned them out just with my finger on the inside of the bucket. Just open up all 4 holes. You can see how they're placed on each side of the trunk. After a little bit, I'll switch the bucket to this side of the trunk, the opposite side of the trunk, just to keep it going, keep it saturating. You can see they do get clogged up. I got some mucky water there, partially from the bucket, partially probably from my well, who knows, but mostly from the bucket, I'd hope. But you can see there's some leaves and stuff floating around in there. So holes do get clogged up, so that's why you drill the extra holes. But I'll let that go for a while, and then we got 1 more tree right there to water. And I did trim it. I don't know if you can tell the trimming there, but a little bit shorter than it was. It's kind of hard to see with all the other tree branches around and stuff. But I did trim it back a little bit. And I'm going to try to keep it around that height. Little dog. Keep it around that height. You know, same with the other two. I trimmed all of them. I didn't do too much of this one because it's fairly compact. They probably had a good trimming at the beginning of this year. And then there's the last apple tree. But looks good so far. So that is tree planting for today. Thanks. See you next time.